Let's cross to Kabul and reporter Bilal Sarwary. Many thanks for speaking with us. First of all, what can you tell us about Haibatullah Akhunzada?
He hails from the Maiwan district in the province of Kandahar. He comes from the Nurzai tribe. He's a village level hardliner, a mullah who's worked his way up to the Taliban leadership. Under the Taliban regime in the 1990s, he was a advisor to the Taliban leader Mullah Omar. He was a staunch advocate of banning music, TV, and photos. So that just gives you an idea that he is just a hardliner. And in the last 15 years, since the American-led invasion removed the Taliban regime, he has been a top judge for the Taliban. That means that it was Mr. Haibatullah who was signing on countless number of amputations, beheadings, and execution-style Taliban speedy justice across the country. So very much someone who's very brutal, who's a hardliner, but he is not a well-known figure among the Taliban because he was always someone who was in the background.
Always someone in the background. Did it surprise you, his nomination?
Well, it's my personal analysis that he's a compromise candidate. Look, when the news of Mullah Omar's death came out 2 years after he had died, under very mysterious circumstances, you had splinter Taliban groups who were saying, look, first of all, Akhtar Mansour had a role in the death of Mullah Omar. Secondly, why was he hiding it? And then Akhtar Mansour appointed family members, close relatives, from his own tribe, the Isaaqzais, into very important positions, whether it was military positions or financial positions. People often forget the fact that this is an organization that earns hundreds of millions of dollars from the drug trade. They tax people very much like the FARC in Colombia. You see the FARCification of Taliban. So this time around, the Taliban are saying, look, we're bringing someone who's a religious scholar who comes from another tribe, and we're bringing Mullah Omar's son, Mullah Yaqub, as his deputy. And then you have got Sirajuddin Haqqani as the deputy who has got the military muscle. The move to bring Mullah Omar's son as his deputy is clearly aimed at trying to unite the various splintering Taliban groups that were specifically angry at Mr. Mansour. So the Taliban are very much trying to consolidate their position, to unite their ranks, because after all, they have been suffering from these various splinter groups.
A lot of the attention has been focused, and you just mentioned it, on the naming of Sirajuddin Haqqani, who has a $5 million US dollar bounty on his head, as the deputy head. He's the operational commander of the Haqqani network, which works on both sides of the Pakistani border. Why is it not him who's the new leader?
Look, the Haqqani network is a Pakistan-based network with extensive links to the Pakistan military and intelligence services, and that's one of the tensions between Islamabad and Washington. The Americans have been publicly calling on Pakistan to go after the Haqqani network, and they've even threatened publicly that military aid could be cut off to Pakistan. The Haqqani network, I guess, will find it very difficult to get the support of key religious elders in the south. The Taliban leadership simply don't see Siraj Haqqani as someone who's got the religious credentials to lead them. However, he is a very important part of the Taliban military council. He's the backbone of Taliban military warfare, if you would like me to describe it that way. And so we will see, we will continue to see an elusive Sirajuddin Haqqani reportedly hiding inside Pakistan, according to the American intelligence officials, launch these deadly attacks. And one of the sticking points in the Quetta Shura, when they were trying to appoint Mr. Haibatullah, was this issue that there should not be big truck bombs, car bombs in populated areas, because the Taliban have got their own counterinsurgency. And there are fears that with these attacks, with the death of so many civilians, the Taliban are simply losing public support. Some splinter groups in Taliban, like Mullah Rasul, Mullah Manan Niazi, have already been pointing to the big truck bomb in Kabul, almost 8 tons of explosives, which killed a lot of civilians and destroyed homes. So there are tensions, and then there are issues: who gets the financial positions, who gets to be sent to the Qatar office in the Gulf, because that's where Taliban still receive a lot of funding from their supporters.
All right, so you've spelled out for us here the tensions within the Taliban movement. But does that mean that they're any weaker, and does that mean that we're any closer to any kind of a peace deal with Kabul?
Look, there's no doubt that there's a crisis of leadership, that there's mistrust, there are accusations among various Taliban commanders and leaders, sometimes at the very highest levels, highest echelons of the leadership. But I must also say that it's equally the same problem here in Kabul. The National Unity Government also has a serious crisis of leadership. It still does not have an intelligence chief. It still does not have a minister of defense. They're acting, and still they have to be confirmed by the parliament. And I think there has been this politicization of Afghan national security forces at the highest level here in Kabul, between President Ashraf Ghani and the chief executive officer Abdullah. So if you're an Afghan soldier and you're serving in Helmand, you're suffering from lack of pay. You're working for 6 months straight. Your food is not good. Your living condition is not good. So I think that's what most Afghan military commanders are right now thinking. What can they do to take advantage of the mess within the Taliban? But so far, the Taliban seem to have recovered from that. If you remember, when Mullah Omar's death was announced, everyone thought, well, that's the end of the Taliban. But the Afghan government simply couldn't seize that opportunity. The other big problem is that you've got these sanctuaries across the border in Pakistan, something that is a very serious source of tension between Kabul and Islamabad. But from now on, Taliban leaders won't be feeling safe even in a province like Balochistan, which has been spared from US drone strikes. So that gives the Afghan government an upper hand. The Afghan government is now at a position that it can try to change things, but they will have to improve things quite fast and quick in an effective manner. And for now, they're just simply failing on those fronts.
Bilal Sarwary, before I let you go, earlier in the day, you sat down with Afghanistan's former president, Hamid Karzai. How did he see him, and what's his take on what's going on?
I went to see the former president, who's also a national leader. He was saying that, look, it is my call on all Taliban to give up the fighting, to return to their countries, because he was saying, look, even Akhtar Mansour is not safe in another country, and he was clearly referring to Pakistan. Mr. Karzai is a known critic, but he was also condemning this morning's attack, a suicide attack that killed 11 judges and injured 5 more on the outskirts of the city. So Mr. Karzai was saying that he sees little chance for peace for now, but nonetheless, his call has been always the same, calling on Taliban to lay down their weapons, return to Afghanistan, and give up the death and killing of Afghans.
Bilal Sarwary, many thanks for speaking with us there live from Kabul.